And so now we're outside of HBC. If you ever come down, you'll see that we have planters along the patios, and in some of those planters we are growing hops. To be honest, I can't remember what variety they are. I think they're either Centennial or Cascade. I got them years ago, and I've just been playing with them ever since, trying to just mostly for decoration, but believe it or not, we do use these in the beer. Now, if you're growing hops at home, you're not going to want to use them for bittering unless you send them off to a lab and figure out what the alpha acid content is, because you're not going to know unless you have that work done. So when we use these at HBC, we're using them either in the dry hop or the end of the boil, the whirlpool, for flavor and aroma more than anything else. So in fact, the last beer that we used these in was a sour last year during our last harvest. In a typical year, we probably get a pound, maybe 2 of wet hops, and these are wet because you'll see they are still whole cone. In the last segment, you saw that I was weighing out what came out of the package. Those are pelletized, and all that means is they have been sent through a pelletizer in order to condense them into a smaller form and make them easier for brewers to use. The pelletizers actually make the hops less likely to clog any of your equipment. Sending this through a heat exchanger is not fun. I don't recommend it. So, these are our hops, and we've lowered the bines. They usually grow all the way up to the top of the building, but for the for this video, we've lowered them. And you can see here the bunches of hops. These are the flowers of the plant. You'll see the shape of the leaves, and I wish you could touch them because both the leaves and the bines themselves feel spiky, and that's because the bines have little microscopic hairs that give it that spiny feel. The problem is, if you work with hops for any length of time, they're going to cause micro scratches in your skin, and then the oils of the hops will get in the scratches, and you'll end up with a beautiful rash. Turns out most of the population is allergic to these oils. So, if you work with hops, be sure to wear gloves. That being said, so if you can see from the shape of the leaves, they look vaguely familiar. That's because hops are actually a cousin of cannabis. So that gives you that little familiarity in the leaves. Just an interesting fact for you there. But they grow up the building, like I said, and it's October, come the end of the month, we'll probably cut them down, and you can either use them whole right off the vine, or you can dry them, reduce some of that weight a little bit. And if you're going to do that, I recommend a food dehydrator, or you can set them on a screen with fans blowing underneath. Speeds up the process of drying them out a little faster. And there you go.